On this episode of the Inside Myanmar podcast, we're bringing you something special, a behind-the-scenes look at the 4th International Conference on Burma Myanmar Studies, held in August 2024 at Chiang Mai University's Regional Center for Social Science and Sustainable Development. This event tackled some of Myanmar's most critical challenges: ongoing conflicts, peace processes, human rights, and the impact of the 2021 coup. It was all about fostering research, dialogue, and advocacy for sustainable solutions. Now, here's where it gets interesting. We were given exclusive access to the conference and even an office on site, allowing us to record brief, on-the-spot interviews with attendees. These interviews are different from our usual long-form episodes, as we conducted 10-minute grabs that cover a broad range of topics. We were able to reach out to a total of 18 different guests, all of which we're bringing to you in this 4-part series. A quick note, since we were recording right at the heart of the conference, you might hear some background sounds from the event itself. Our sound engineers worked their magic to clean things up, but the audio quality may feel a bit different than our studio interviews. In any case, we hope that this just adds to the authenticity of the experience. And with that, let's get into the talks that follow. This episode is the 3rd in the series, and we encourage you to listen to the episodes that came before.
Okay, hi, I'm Charlotte Galloway. I'm an Honorary Associate Professor at the Australian National University. I've been working and researching and having a great deal of pleasure with engaging my colleagues in Myanmar since around the year 2000. Yeah.
Great, so that's a long time that you've been involved in Myanmar. Your first visit, as you mentioned just before we started recording, was 1999. I imagine you've been involved in a number of different projects and sectors when it comes to Myanmar. Can you flesh out some of those areas?
Yeah, look, I often feel I have a very strange place in Myanmar. I mean, I went there as an art historian of all things, but working in history. So I was working with the archaeology department. My PhD research was on the early Bagan period, 1044 to 1113. Great PhD topic for anyone listening to this.
Sounds great.
Make it nice and narrow. But so working with archaeology has just led me in such fabulous directions. So I'm also been doing a lot of work in museums. Back in Australia, I was worked at the National Gallery of Australia for a number of years. I also lectured at ANU in art history and curatorial studies. And I got engaged with heritage, which has taken me in some amazing directions. Yeah.
That's amazing. I think I know you've been involved in some more social and political initiatives lately, but before getting to that, I would just love to talk a little bit about the world of art and architecture and heritage.
Oh, look. I think what got me so interested was because so little was known in Myanmar, and as we know, scholarship essentially stopped around the 1950s, early 60s. And yes, people in Myanmar were still doing research, but there was just such a gap in what was happening in contemporary approaches, particularly to heritage and conservation, preservation of buildings and the like. So since I started going there, I've been working on projects with like museum training, cataloguing collections. That's been really interesting because, there are international standards, but every country does it their own way. And, we're trying to sort of meld the two in Myanmar, which was great. And the staff have been doing a terrific job since then. I've seen the end results of what they've been doing. And we've now got a couple of museum collections in the World Heritage Sites which have been fully documented, which is terrific. I've also been, of course, involved in heritage preservation and the UNESCO World Heritage listing for Bagan. I was lucky enough to be asked to be one of the experts engaged with that. And I had the fascinating job of working on Criterion 6 for World Heritage listing, which is actually trying to meld the intangible cultural heritage of Myanmar and its Buddhist heritage in this instance with the physical evidence that exists at Bagan from the Bagan period. Because World Heritage is about tangible sites and Criterion 6 is just one that sort of links the two. So I got to do a lot of really interesting work with people in Myanmar about intangible cultural heritage and temple festivals and understanding their history, which was probably the most important thing.
I'm so fascinated by Bagan history, culture, art, Buddhist practice, architecture, everything. It's such obviously it's any just casual observer of Myanmar knows how important Bagan as a physical place, as a kingdom and as a historical era was to everything that came after. I want to ask you if, just given our limited time today, just to give a teaser of, from your area of study, what's one fascinating aspect or interest or anecdote or something that you can give our listeners to chew on about your Bagan study?
Okay, crumbs. I just had a mountain of things go rushing through my mind.
I'm sure.
But look, what I suppose really I find fascinating, and I always go back to, I suppose if I look at it that way, I always go back to the Ananda Temple. And while that was part of a focus of my PhD research, when I see the activity that happens there, why it's so important. And certainly as during the last decade of the sort of democracy period in Myanmar, when people were allowed to start moving again, within the country, let alone having foreigners come in as tourists, the absolute resurgence in the number of people in Myanmar who found Bagan so fascinating. And something like the Ananda Temple Festival went from, this smaller, still big in the terms of what was happening then, to this explosion of activity every year where people would come to, pay merit and, be part of, what they clearly feel deeply embedded in their psyche as part of their cultural history. So, yeah, that's just one example of something I've found, fascinating to watch.
Right. And so this was your entry into Myanmar, this interest of the culture, the art, the architecture, this historical period. What did your Myanmar relationship then transition into?
Well, it really has shifted more into the particularly higher education space.
Yeah.
So I was lecturing at Yangon Uni in the archaeology department, but what they were really keen for me to do was actually talk about research training, how to write research papers, to upskill their staff, their existing academic staff. And so while I was also then, when I became director of the Myanmar Research Centre at ANU, that gave me more connections in a way to look at what support Myanmar needed. This was after the NLD came into government, though I had been doing teaching before that. And we got involved with the reform of higher education. So we were engaged a lot more with direct teacher training, and also in writing some of the components for what would have been Myanmar's next National Education Strategic Plan. Particularly looking at developing their research capabilities in the higher education sector, which, as we know, is sorely needed for the development of their future. And of course, since the coup, we've had to transition more into alternative. I've certainly followed the shift and have been supporting alternative education options, particularly for those people who are unable to stay within the state systems, displaced people, and so on. For me, I'm a passionate educator, and education to me is such a key. I've learned so much from the people in Myanmar. They've given me so much from my career, and I'm just more than happy to give whatever I can back.
Given your extensive years of being in the education sector in Myanmar, and then contrasting that with just your environment, the education environment the world over, Australia and other countries, how would you describe the particular way that you see Burmese orienting towards education?
Look, I think there's actually, I gave him my paper yesterday and talked about, I thought there were some issues before the coup happened. I think there's slightly unclear, I'm not clear in my mind what Myanmar is looking for in its future education. I think there's a lot of competing ideas, there's lots of different education systems in the Western world. I'm not quite clear what they're actually wanting to achieve. They've made fantastic progress in modernising. They were making really good progress in modernising systems, but the implementation hadn't sort of got to that point. But I think this current period, there's a really, while it's, we'd prefer all of this not to have happened, there is an opportunity to sort of really think hard about, a sort of way forward with their education situation.
I also want to come back to what you had said earlier, that scholarship essentially stopped in Myanmar after the 1950s, and how in the transition period, not only did you have scholars the world over now able to do field work, but I really appreciated how you pointed to the local interest in scholarship and culture and heritage that was also flourishing during that time, which is now temporarily, we all hope, been suspended again. But what does it mean for a country to have its own scholarship be stunted in such a dramatic way as has happened?
Yeah. I don't even know how to put that in words, because I know how vibrant the research culture has been over the last decade, when people were given the opportunity to have real engagement with their foreign, with the international academic community, and they took it, they just flourished, and we've got, you don't have to look at the number of research papers, even in my field. We had a small number of international scholars who'd had ongoing sort of contact with people in Myanmar over the previous, say, 20 years. It's just a small number. And they really, came to the party in terms of getting local people published and, in articles in really good journals. And we could see people just doing this then on their own. Now that there's just a real, it's almost like it has just been cut off. And it's, the people it's still inside the country, they know what they're not able to do now. We're trying to keep our networks going. People outside the country, it's the same, but everyone outside the country has their own struggles. And so, we're just, all we can do is try and keep those networks going, What's important now, at this juncture, particularly, we're now 3 years since the coup, is we got to remember these are people, these are human beings, it's now a protracted battle, everyone's getting tired, it's, fatigue, the mental stresses and everything are really hard. I think we need to be really generous in our support of individuals and of groups, recognising that there's no uniformity within the country. There's different needs for everybody. And, if we're approached for assistance, we need to be flexible in how we manage that as well. Because we don't know, they know what they need. We just need to help them.
Hello, I am a youth activist from Myanmar, and currently I am residing in Thailand. And the main reason that I have to displaced to Thailand from Myanmar is because of 2021 coup, and I was a part of a student union, and I used to be a student activist. And after that, after the coup, we did oppose against the coup through the various strike movements, the protest movements, and massive protest movements. So due to the security concern, I migrated to Thailand. After migrating to Thailand, I've been working a lot on advocating the Thai government, the Thai officers and the Thai authorities, including the MPs, the Thai activists, and even the youths and students from Thailand, to have more interest in Myanmar and to do something more positive, more contributive things to Myanmar. Currently, the Thai government is that their policy is not clear on Myanmar. They don't have a clear, specific policy, and they don't really know how to react on Myanmar. They just they're just keeping on the status quo, and they are more like reactive than the proactive when something comes about Myanmar. So as an young activist, by myself, I've been trying it a lot to change that. Of course, it's not an easy thing. It's really, really difficult because we are trying to change a structure. I feel like including the international community, including Thailand, ASEAN, and also some kind of United Nations agencies, they are trying to approach to Myanmar crisis in the very own traditional ways. As a youth, I feel like the youth of Myanmar are trying to fight against the military in the very untraditional way, in the ways that we've been really, really creative, but the response for international community, including our biggest, most important neighbor, Thailand, they are responding to the crisis in this very same traditional way. So I think that's the biggest gap and biggest problem here. So as a young activist, I'm trying to change that, and I think I'm really lucky that I am now working at a Thai civil society organization who are really, really keen on Myanmar, improving the human rights conditions of Myanmar, and who really have a good understanding and kind attitude to the Myanmar refugees migrate to Thailand. So through that organization, I've been working a lot on that. Yeah. So I would like to request the Thai MPs and also the Thai youth students to see the Myanmar crisis out of the box, out of the structure. So I think the structures and the formal ways, the formal diplomatic ways are something that humans make up, so we can go over that, we can destroy that, and we can see humans in a very human way. So yeah.
So can you tell me your thoughts on the outlook of trying to influence Thai policy at the higher levels? Because you reference how Thailand, as ASEAN, Western governments, United Nations, etc., they are looking at traditional ways at an untraditional and unconventional type of conflict, and therein lies the problem. So as you look at trying to influence Thai policy at higher levels, do you have any signs of hope or optimism that in some quarters they're beginning to look at it the way that more accurately describes the situation?
Yes. So when we approach to the Thai MPs, the Thai politicians, include the current authorities and the previous authorities, even within the Thai politics, the dynamic is changing a lot. We have the Move Forward Party, and we have the progressive MPs, and some MPs who are not from Move Forward, but still they are really progressive. I think when it comes about the advocacy towards the Thai MPs, their politics and what's happening inside Thailand is also really important. As an example, the government and the previous Thai governments, they are relying a lot on Myanmar for their economic deals like the border trades and the oil and gas sector. So they cannot go out of they cannot add beyond that scope. So as an activist, and we have been trying to say that these kind of things can be changed. When you talk about Thai-Myanmar relations, it's not always about Bangkok to Naypyidaw relation. So Thailand and Myanmar have a very, very long borderline, and the people residing along the borderline, they are quite important and significant too. They have a lot to say, and the people who are living on the Myanmar side, like the Karenni, the Karen, Shan, Mon, they are very prone to conflicts. They are they become the IDPs. Their territories are being bombed every single day. So, the refugees and the humanitarian crisis also happen. But we cannot ignore the economic points as well. So, what I would like to say is that please see beyond Bangkok to Naypyidaw relations. I am suggesting to prioritize on the cross-border activities and to prioritize the emerging local governance systems along the Thai-Myanmar border. In currently, we have the IEC, which is very, very strong, very, very powerful. So I would like the Thai government to see the importance of such local governance mechanism. And if the Thai government can make some kind of agreements for improving the cross-border trades and with such kind of governance system, that will be, a lot changes. Yeah.
So that's looking at the relations between the higher state actors and policy level. In answering that question, you consistently reference the people-to-people relations and looking beyond those state institutions. So and you reference people-to-people relations on the border. I'd like to expand that to country. And as a Burmese who's been in Thailand for some time since the coup and has made connections and crossroads in Thai society and Thai youth, can you describe, or how would you describe the way that you have seen some Thais of your generation and age regarding what's going on in Myanmar? Or have you seen any kind of awareness or engagement? And if so, what kind?
Yep. As a part of our advocacy strategy, we strongly believe that the public advocacy is the key to change the policies, and no policy can come out without the desire of the people, right? Especially the young people who are quite active for the political scenarios. And I believe the Thai youth, the Thai students are also very, very powerful, and they've been always there to ask for what they want, what they desire, how they want to change their country. But when it comes about Myanmar, what I can see is that they are always there to support their Myanmar youth. I've been in method with the Thai students and Thai youth because they really want to support what's happening to the Myanmar youth and how they can support from the Thai side. So in Thailand, our good partners are called Moet Alliance Thailand. The Moet Alliance is the concept is that we have a big collaboration among different youth groups. So the Moet Alliance Thailand is also a great work. Just a week ago, they are selling the portraits and the pictures and also the paintings of the IDP children inside Myanmar, and they sell those paintings in Bangkok and then donate all the money back to the IDP children. So these are kind of the way that they show their solidarity to us. And I think whenever it comes about political deadlocks or whatever the issues, the generation change can be an answer. Even as a youth, as a youth from Myanmar, we have different ethnicity. We didn't understand about how other ethnic groups are suffering. In the past, I didn't understand, but right now I understand what they're suffering, and I try to I try to understand their pain as well. So I think this kind of generation change and solidarity with each other can also be a good solution to the current existing political problems. So in the current Myanmar situations, we are in a very difficult time. And I really want to thank the international community who have been in solidarity with us since day one after the coup. So I really want to appreciate that. And as for the neighboring countries, not just Thailand, but also India and also China, they are quite important players. And as ASEAN also plays a important player as well. So I would like the international community to have more understanding with us, and although we try to remove these institutions through the unconflict way, I would like to request the international community to understand us because there's no other available option. So that's also one of the main points that I would like to say. But the people of Myanmar, especially the youth of Myanmar, are really in a very strong position to fight against this military juntas, and all of your support will be really appreciated.
Hello, I'm Peter Morris, and I'm a lawyer and a part-time journalist and part-time teacher. Can I talk about Bertil Littner?
The mic is yours.
Okay, so look, everyone appreciates what Bertil has done for Myanmar Studies, for Myanmar, for everything, but I just feel like that's the one thing I disagree with him on, is that he thinks the revolution's going to lose. I think they're going to win. And one of the reasons I think that is because I've been going around the world to fundraisers in various countries where the Myanmar diaspora gathers together, and they're really pumped up, and they're all unified, coming from different ethnic backgrounds, and they're fighting really hard for victory, for the Spring Revolution. And you might say, okay, well, they're just diaspora people and they're different, but a lot of them are like fresh off the boat, and some of them they're all connected to their families back in Myanmar. Okay, they talk with the people back in Myanmar, and I'm pretty sure the sentiment is the same, because I've talked to people who are living in Myanmar now or came more recently, and it's the same type of sentiment. So I believe, look, it's not perfect. There is interfighting, and there will continue to be interfighting, but I think they can, in the face of a common enemy, throughout history, tribes have unified against it. This is not a new thing. This is an old phenomenon, and I think they're all united in overthrowing the dictatorship. Even groups that haven't jumped into the fray yet. I think a lot of them, let's take the Mon, for example. The only reason the New Mon State Party is not actively joining the revolution is because they're really exposed due to their geography. But that's already started to change, because one branch, sort of branched off, and they're now fighting, and the Mon, there's a lot of activity in the Mon community now, actively fighting the revolution, and it's a nationwide thing. So I don't know. Yes, there's fighting. Yes, there's infighting, and there will continue to be it. But I think they can set aside their differences in the face of a common enemy, and to overthrow the common enemy. And I think Min Zin said at the talk, he said that the young people, he was talking about Shan State, he said the younger generation, they're not as susceptible to basically being corrupted by whether it's China or the junta. Basically, he was saying, like, the older generation, there's like crony capitalism or like development project. They say, oh, if you stop fighting, or if you fight with us, we'll give you development projects, stuff like that. Both China and the junta have been doing that, but the younger generation is different, and so they might pay lip service. They might say, oh yeah, okay, we'll stop fighting, or China will protect your assets, and we'll stop fighting, but when it comes down to it, they start fighting again. And thank goodness the SAC, that's a bad way to put it, but the SAC is basically forcing their hand, because the SAC starts the attacks again, and then they counterattack. But I have a feeling even if the SAC didn't attack, they would sort of break the ceasefire, especially the younger generation. And the younger generation is the one that's fighting this war. Okay, maybe the senior commanders might be calling the shots in some cases, but there's a lot of young people who are playing leadership roles in the revolution, including women.
So there definitely has been momentum on the side of the resistance forces, and that's been undeniable. I think the naysayers before were talking about a return to the bad old days. The naysayers now are talking about how these EAOs have never been inherently democratic, that with the power vacuum at play and the wealth of natural resources, that we're going to see infighting, balkanization, fragmentation, et cetera, and those stories have been juxtaposed aside of the local governance, the positive stories of local governance we're seeing, especially out of Karenni and Karen, and how that's already playing out, which is not theoretical, it's actually evidence-based, even though they're not as well known at this time. But what are your views on this dynamic now between the concern that, okay, yes, the momentum might be with them, but we're not really going to see good news in our lifetimes, we've heard that, versus this hope that Myanmar could dramatically and drastically rewrite its history, which would have impacts not only to the country of Myanmar, but become a beacon of light for the entire Southeast Asian region. Just to throw a tag onto that, I've been talking with members of Milk Tea Alliance. This is something that they hold very strongly in neighboring countries. Looking at the example of Myanmar, if they're able to overcome a tyranny like beyond what we see in the other countries in the region, what this does is a sense of inspiration for those surrounding movements, and kind of the fear it strikes in tyrants everywhere. Yeah, there's something there. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree. I'll take it a step further. I think Myanmar is a kind of beacon of hope for the entire world, right? It's just people don't know about it. Like if people back in the, I'm hoping to write about this. Hopefully you guys can publicize it too. It's like if people back in the States knew how the people in the revolution are overcoming these enormous odds and are so passionate to reestablish democracy. If people outside knew that would really give people hope. If you think about right now, how many people around the world are like disillusioned, disengaged? Back in the States, a lot of people are like that. A lot of people have just given up. But maybe if they hear about what's going on in Myanmar, that will be a source of hope and inspiration. And you can't put a price on that. And so if Myanmar people, when they receive aid, if they ever feel like, Anade, say, hey, don't worry, you guys are giving us something that is so valuable you can't even put a price tag on it, which is hope,
Yeah, absolutely. So would that's certainly the ripple effect that it would have if they're able to go against these odds, both of defeating the military and then setting up a really effective federal democracy.
I think they can pull it off. As I said on your podcast earlier, where there's a will, there's a way, and I think there is a will. Yes, there is concern, like some of the groups, might have like more authoritarian principles, or there's a lot of variation, right? But in terms of I guess it's two separate things, right? Or I guess you could talk about it in like as federalism on the one hand and democracy on the other. I think they can pull off federalism because I think they understand that they're stronger together. Okay, so that's one thing. And for example, like the Rakhine, they have a strong position now. but the Rakhine can't access China without the Kachin, and vice versa. Kachin can't access the ocean without the Rakhine, okay? And those are, you know, one of the two most powerful groups, okay? And then the Karen is the same thing, that they need access and people need access to Thailand. So that's, if only because of that, I think they get pulled off. But also I think there's a genuine interest in setting up some kind of unified state, whatever that may be. And then, and the reason I say that is that for the similar types of reasons that I've interacted with people, and they're keen on setting up a somewhat unified state. And then the next thing is that democracy. That, I mean, I think they can pull that off too, especially because the younger generation, once again, is playing an active role in the revolution, and so they're going to want to have a say in the future structure of the system. So yeah, I think they can pull off a democracy. I mean, yeah, it's not going to be perfect, and yeah, at the local level and demobilization, it's not going to be easy. But once again, where there's a will, there's a way. Rome wasn't built in a day. Nothing good ever comes easy. Any other cliches we can mention? Yeah, right. I would just like to get back to like Myanmar being a source of inspiration, because yeah, a lot of people out there are just giving up hope. Like, because in the States, like I know a lot of people out there, they don't even vote anymore. They're just kind of given up, and like especially with the sort of moves against democracy back in the States, a lot of people have sort of resigned to it being totally dysfunctional. But yeah, I just want to say to any listeners out there who have been a little bit disillusioned about the situation in their own countries, take a look at Myanmar, see what's going on there, see how passionate the people are, especially the young people, old people too, and you know, don't give up, and just keep fighting.
I'm a counseling psychologist, currently working in the mental health and psychosocial support field during this time. So earlier in the coup, the people's mental health has been very much challenged, and before the coup also, people started to aware the importance of mental health during the COVID. So we were able to promote the mental health issues and needs during COVID. So when coup happened, I think it's a little step forward already. It's not like beginning people start knowing about mental health. However, the impact of mental health during the coup is very much different from COVID. So there are many factors which threatening people, make their lives harder, and see things in a very different situations, which definitely affect their mental health, raising their stress level, warning them like uncertainty, started experiencing this adverse experience which can lead to traumatic experience.
Right. So what kinds of mental health issues in particular are coming up since the coup in your professional experience?
A lot of fear, anxiety, fear in the sense of fear and anxiety for the uncertainty, and also for the security, and fear and anxiety towards many daily functioning which they have to do. For example, the children's education, their health services. The health services are also, as you may aware, due to the CDM movement, there are many professional, very efficient physicians who left the field, who joined in the CDM movement. So the concern for the ordinary citizens, for their children's education, for their health, and even for the financial, all this new regulation in the banking systems. So day-to-day survival is so much challenged and shaken due to this coup. which is like every areas is shaken, and people are going through with anxiety, depressed. They don't know what career they have to choose if they involve in the CDM movement, and also again like worry, guilt feeling, because like which side they have to stand. If they stand this side, if they have to sacrifice, like when they join the CDF movement, if they don't join, they feel guilty. If they cannot involve very actively, they feel guilty for those who are joining very actively. And there are also some grief when they start losing, their family members when they join to the armed group, or when they were like close friends got arrested, so a lot of mental health issues people are facing, like so immense, massive at a certain period of time, which is too much for the people.
It sounds like it. What you just laid out, it sounds like a tremendous amount to be dealing with. And how, I know that in previous generations and decades, mental health issues were something of a taboo in Myanmar society. So in what ways would you describe how Burmese people generally would deal with mental health issues in previous decades, and what shift you've seen in that openness in the last 3 years?
Previously, when they have some psychological uneasiness, distress, most Burmese people, or even the people in Myanmar, regardless of the religion, spiritual is one way which they cope with. Either they take refuge, or they get strength, or even they got the social support through the religious organizations, such as by joining in the church community, they got some social support. Joining in the Dhamma group, so respectively with the different religion is giving different psychological support in a way. However, people hesitate to share it, to talk about it to a trusted person. Is not much aware in previous in past, especially talking to a counselor. So counselor, the concept is quite new for them. However, like slowly from the COVID, they started notice, and also the mental health professionals are raising awareness, and also the organizations bring into the surface this is need. This is also affect to their psychological health. Then people start notice, get familiar, so slowly they open up. They realize that it's okay to look for counseling support. Still very little, even among those who are aware of it, there are still limitation for the access to the mental health services due to the online the connection problem, or they were in the remote area. So there are still many limitations, but there's a little shift.
I see. So looking at how you're able to provide services, you're talking about a population that is still not out of harm's way. There are landmines, there are airstrikes, there are all kinds of oppression of many different sorts, threatening safety that the military is exerting on the people. And so often, even after an active conflict or danger ends, the feeling of trauma will stay with you for years, or even for life if you don't deal with it properly. Yes. But we're talking about a population that is not yet out of harm's way and is continuing to live in danger day after day after day. So as a professional, how are you able to, and if so, how are you able to help individuals who are trying to recognize and process trauma while they are still in a place of danger?
As a professional, with my experience, I think it is very challenging for us to help them to understand this is the time they are still in the battle. This is not like when something is finished and they are treating the wound. They are in the battle where they still have the wound and there are potential situations they can still have more wounds. So the message we have to give them is, whenever we have the wounds, the main thing is we have to taking care of the wounds so that it won't be worse, it won't get worse. And when we take care of this carefully, even when we have another one, this first one will have some time in the recovery. If we don't take care of it, when there will be more wound, you will not have the capability or strength, or you won't be able to bear it. So we are very sorry that we cannot bring you out of these situations, but at least we can help you not to make it worse, not to happen it worse, not to make your wounds more severe. At least we can clean it, we can cover it so that there won't be no more dust, no more things which can make it worse, right? So those are the way of explaining those who are in the situation. In the situation meaning people across Burma, regardless of urban, city, because when we talk about the revolution, when we talk about these political situations, people tend to think, or the first thing comes into their mind is those who are actively participating in the revolution. However, those who are living in the city cannot be underestimate their psychological distress. And we need to also take into account, taking care of, pay attention to their psychological distress too, because in the end, they are also affected definitely, and their stress is also counted. They are having their trauma on their own way too. So when we do the healing national wise, we have to also pay attention, different level, different needs as well. Honestly, I want to say I'm one of them. I'm not telling them there are many people who are less opportunity, less privileged than me, but I'm not telling these things as I am someone from outside. I have my own level of going through this with the people. So in every level of pain, please hang in there. Like there's a quote from the Martin Luther King Jr., right? When you cannot fly, you have to walk. When you cannot fly, cannot walk. Cannot walk, crawl. I just want to make one more. If you even cannot crawl, just hang in there. I don't have more words than that. And then, like as I mentioned a little earlier, keep taking care of it. Even though we cannot fully recover, we can make this time not to get worse, so that when the things get better, when the time comes, we will be ready. So please hang in there.
So this is Nang Momo from the Women League of Burma, and currently I work as General Secretary. And before working as Women League of Burma, I was working with the PAO Women Union, which is ethnic minority women political organization that based in southern Chiang State. So it's also a member of the Women League of Burma. So Women League of Burma is a women umbrella organization and also a women political organization. It's established in 1999, and the organization vision is to establish Federal Democratic Union of Burma with the guarantee of peace, justice, equality, including gender equality and gender justice. So we work in terms of the programming, and we work with the several major programs. We have peace and reconciliation, women political empowerment, women against violence. So we do both like empowerment and capacity building, especially the empowerment and the capacity building to ensure the participation, the meaningful participation of women, and especially like ethnic women and women from the conflict and in the post-conflict areas to ensure their meaningful participation in the politics, in the decision-making level, in the political negotiation, in the peace process. So we do like capacity building and empowerment, and also in terms of like peace and reconciliation, we focus on justice and peace. So we doing like transitional justice. For the transitional justice, we do like documentation, we do education, we like do some of the reparation strategy. So we do those kind of things. And women against violence, especially Women League of Burma, like is comprised with a 12 member organization and 12 ethnic member organizations. So the ethnic women organization are especially based in the border area and in the conflict, in the post-conflict areas. So we, in terms of like the Women Against Violence program, we work through our member organization. We do documentation of the sexual and gender-based violence, and especially mainly focus on the military committed conflict-related sexual violence. So we do documentation, and also we also provide like support and assistance to the survivor and the victim family of sexual and gender-based violence and the conflict-related sexual violence, including like a shelter, a safe house, a crisis support centers, and some of medical assistance, legal assistance to the survivor and the victim family. So in terms of like documentation, we work for more than 20 years because we are going to be 25 years in coming December 2024. So we do documentation a lot, and then we also have like a publication, especially the one that I mentioned, the Burmese military, the systematic and widespread and committed of rapes as a weapon of war for like more than 7 decades in Burma. So we do like, we have quite a lot of publication in our social media platforms and in websites as well. And so we also do like based on our evidence data, we also do like advocacy for, especially to bring the perpetrators to be accountable, and also to bring justice for women. Now after the military coup, before the coup, then we based in Yangon since 2017 until 2021, but military coup in 2021, and then we come back to Thailand again, in the Thai-Burma border again, and working for Burma through the border areas. So we work. And now, like as after the military coup, here I would like to share more about like the work, especially the emergency work, emergency support, humanitarian support that we do, and the challenges that we are facing. So after military coup, we more focus on like emergency support and humanitarian support. We also do like some of the political engagement, political participation, empowerment. We continue doing on this, but based on the community, the needs of the community peoples, we do a lot humanitarian support through our member organization. So we provide like humanitarian support to the IDP, and also women human rights defenders, CDMers, the women human rights activists. So we do support, but there are so many challenges in terms of the humanitarian support, because Women League of Burma is a non-profit and women political organization. So in terms of the humanitarian support, we also have to do like fundraising. And in the beginning of 2021, and we can do like a lot of fundraising to support humanitarian and the urgent emergency support to the women human rights defender. But in coming to like since early 2023 and now 2024, and the international donor, the international narrative change, even those like the fighting and the IDP population increase every day. And now like the vast majority of people, they need humanitarian support because of the crisis, because of the airstrikes, bombing, every day. But we cannot do like fundraising a lot now. So there are very challenges, and especially the insufficiency of the humanitarian support also like cause the problem a lot. For example, like currently in Chiang, we have our members, and in the IDP camp, since there is not enough the humanitarian support, and they are like a pregnant women, they pass away, and then newborn baby, they like underweight like this, and so many like the consequence of the reproductive health and the health of the women and child. So these like big challenges that we are currently facing, and then we are also looking to address those kind of challenges, because this time they become IDP, and not the same way like in previous conflict. Because in the previous conflict there is a conflict, civil war fighting, but after that you go back, you stay in the IDP camp for a month or 2 months, and then you go back to your home. But this time it's not like this. Like you become IDP and then you lose everything because of the airstrikes and bombing. So you don't have a home to go back, you don't have a place to go back. So people become IDP, and then more IDP just come in and struggling with the humanitarian insufficiency. So really big challenges, and then we are looking forward to address those humanitarian crises as well. So this currently that we are doing. So yeah, thank you.
Can you tell me the importance of the women leaders that have taken place in the post-coup 2021?
Yeah. After the 2021, maybe based on my personal experience, 2021, and then military coup, and at that time we peacefully come out into the streets, and we peacefully protect the military dictatorship. So at that time, like according to the some of the data and research, like there is like more than 60% of the unarmed protectors are women. So we are also there. When coup happened, I am in Southern Chiang State, in the big city in Tongji. So we peaceful protect in the streets. And then not only this, like after like a week, after a month, then we organize like a big protect. Like for example, we lead a protect in March 8, International Women's Day. At that time we gather a lot of young women, young groups, especially women, and they come and join the protest. So a lot of women are participating in the peaceful protester. And then after like the military cracking down the peaceful protester, then we have to women involved and in the revolution in different way. So like when the military cracks down the peaceful protesters, women they also join. Some women they also join armed force, and some they are like working for the community in different way. And women they play really significant role in this revolution. We see like in the community, when we are looking in the humanitarian sectors, there are women in the front line who are providing the humanitarian support in really high security challenges, in the high risk of security. They are doing this. And in the community, there is like women journalists, women reporters who are reporting like the daily human rights violation, women rights violation in the ground. So a lot of women are playing a significant role. Like when we look at the women lawyers who are providing the pro bono support to the women human rights defense, a lot of women are working in this area. So they play really significant role, but women are underrepresented in the decision making and in the leading role. So even they play significant role in different sector, but their role in the decision making, in the discussion are underrepresented. For example, like in NUG or in NUCC, even though there is a provision in Federal Democratic Charter, like at least 30% of women representation, but until now in NUCC or in both NUG, women are still underrepresented. So we did not reach like 30% of women participation. So in this revolution, as me and this generation, we call this revolution as the intersectional revolution, because different people come. In the past, like especially Burmese majority, they did not suffer war, conflicts, and then they are not really mad in the revolution. But this time, everyone, people with different color, different ethnic, we come together and then we work together. So it's an intersectionality revolution. And this revolution is not only ending the military dictatorship and oppression. This also to end the patriarchals and also the oppression, the discrimination of women, and also establish Federal Democratic Union, New Burma. This is our vision of the revolution. So since it's the intersectional revolution, and then we want to build the New Burma, the Federal Democratic Charter, the role of women participation in decision making in the leading role is really important. Without women participation, if women are still underrepresented in the decision-making levels, and then we will be quite far away from our vision, to establish Federal Democratic Union.
We'd like to take this time to thank our generous supporters who have already given. We simply could not continue to provide you with this content and information without the wonderful support of generous donors, listeners, and friends like you. Each episode helps in providing access to one more voice, one more perspective, one more insight. Every donation of any size is greatly appreciated and helps us continue this mission. We greatly appreciate your generosity, which allows us to maintain this platform. Thank you. If you would like to join in our mission to support those in Myanmar who are being impacted by the military coup, we welcome your contribution in any form, currency, or transfer method. Your donation will go on to support a wide range of humanitarian and media missions, aiding those local communities who need it most. Donations are directed to such causes as the Civil Disobedience Movement, CDM, families of deceased victims, internally displaced person IDP camps, food for impoverished communities, military defection campaigns, undercover journalists, refugee camps, monasteries and nunneries, education initiatives, the purchasing of protective equipment and medical supplies, COVID relief, and more. We also make sure that our donation fund supports a diverse range of religious and ethnic groups across the country. We invite you to visit our website to learn more about past projects, as well as upcoming needs. You can give a general donation or earmark your contribution to a specific activity or project you would like to support, perhaps even something you heard about in this very episode. All of this humanitarian work is carried out by our nonprofit mission, Better Burma. Any donation you give on our Insight Myanmar website is directed towards this fund. Alternatively, you can also visit the Better Burma website, betterburma.org, and donate directly there. In either case, your donation goes to the same cause, and both websites accept credit card. You can also give via PayPal by going to paypal.me/betterburma. Additionally, we can take donations through Patreon, Venmo, GoFundMe, and Cash App. Simply search Better Burma on each platform and you'll find our account. You can also visit either website for specific links to these respective accounts or email us at info@betterburma.org. That's Better Burma, one word, spelled BETTERBURMA.org. If you would like to give it another way, please contact us. We also invite you to check out our range of handicrafts that are sourced from vulnerable artisan communities across Myanmar, available at alokacrafts.com. Any purchase will not only support these artisan communities, but also our nonprofit's wider mission. That's Aloka Crafts, spelled ALOKACRAFTS, one word, alokacrafts.com. Thank you so much for your kind consideration and support.